everyone. I am your reporter for today, Danily Navarro, and my topic is about using non-sexist language. Language usually follows changes in culture rather than anticipating such changes. An example in today's shift away from sexist language in business and technical writing. Indeed, in all writing and speaking. These changes happens because of the increasing number of women entering in some previously male-dominated professions such as engineering, management, medicine, and law. On the other hand, men have also taken previously female-dominated positions such as nurses and flight attendants. Sexist language is the use of wording based on gender to represent position or individuals who could be either men or women. An example is a masculine pronouns like he or him is for men. Feminine pronouns like she or her is understood as for women. For many years, it was perfectly appropriate to use he, his, him, or other masculine words in sentences. For example, the operations specialist should check page 5 of his manual before flipping the switch. Another one is every physician was asked to renew his membership in the medical association before next month. Such usage came under attack for several reasons. Number one, as previously mentioned, the entry of many more women into male-dominated professions has called attention to the inappropriate generic use of masculine pronouns. Number two, many people believe the use of masculine pronouns in a context that could include both gender constrains women from achieving equal status in the profession and in the culture. That is, the use of masculine pronouns encourages sexism in society as a whole. Because of the fact that the foremen are those who work for their family, that is why they use he or his as pronoun to easily understand the context, and the above-mentioned positions are mostly male professions. Either point supplies a good enough reason to avoid sexist language. Many women in positions of responsibility may read your on-the-job writing. If you fail to read your writing of sexism, you risk drawing attention towards sexism and always from your ideas. In other words, you must be careful and be observant in using sexist language to avoid any dispute or rejections from your writing skills. That is why, as language changes, here are some basic techniques to avoid this problem. So, here are the techniques on using the non-sexist language. This section offers techniques from shifting from sexist to non-sexist language. When shifting to non-sexist language, many writers have problems with subject-verb agreement. Not all these strategies will suit your taste in writing style, but use the ones that work for you. So the first technique is avoid personal pronouns altogether. When you speak of personal pronoun, it is a pronoun that is related mainly to a particular person. For example, he, him, her, she, or hers. One easy way to avoid sexist language is to delete or replace unnecessary pronouns. So, for example, on the sexist language, during his first day on the job, any new employee in the toxic waste laboratory must report to the company doctor for his employment physically. And you can rephrase this by using the non-sexist language. During the first day on the job, each new employee in the toxic waste laboratory must report to the company doctor for a physical. As you can see, the pronoun his was replaced of the word each. For the technique number 2, use plural pronouns instead of singular. Plural pronoun examples are all, both, several, others, and many. And singular pronouns examples are each, one, enough, anyone, and someone. In most contexts, you can shift from singular to plural pronouns without altering meanings. The plural usage avoids the problem of using masculine pronouns. So, in the example, in sexist language, each geologist should submit his timesheet by noon on the Thursday before checks are issued. On non-sexist language, all geologists must submit their timesheet on the Thursday before checks are issued. The singular pronoun each was replaced by a plural pronoun all. Interestingly, you may encounter sexist language that uses generic female pronouns inappropriately. For example, each nurse should make every effort to complete her rounds each hour. On the non-sexist language, nurses should make every effort to complete their rounds each hour. Instead of using each, putting s after the word is much better as it already represents plural form. Third technique is alternate masculine and feminine pronouns. Writers who prefer singular pronouns can avoid sexist use by alternating he and him with she and her. When using this technique, writers should avoid the unsettling practice of switching pronouns use within two brief passages, such as a paragraph or page. Instead, writers may switch every few pages or every section or chapter. Although this technique is not yet in common use, its appealing is growing. It gives writers the linguistic flexibility to continue to use masculine and feminine pronouns in a generic fashion. However, one problem is that the alternating use of masculine and feminine pronouns tend to draw attention to itself. Also, the writer must work to balance the use of masculine and feminine pronouns in a sense to give equal treatment. Try to take turns in every context to write by using first he and him on the first chapter, then she or her on the second chapter, and alternately to the succeeding chapters to give equal and justice treatment in both gender. Technique number 4 is use forms like he or she, hers or his, him or her. This is the very common technique where writers use it if they don't know the exact gender of a person referring. This solution requires the writer to include pronouns for both genders. So, in the example, sexist language, the president made it clear that each branch manager will be responsible for the balance sheet of his respective office. In the non-sexist language, the president made it clear that each branch manager will be responsible for the balance sheet of his or her respective office. The stylistic correction of sexist language may bother some readers. They believe that the doublet structure of his or his is wordy and awkward. Just avoid using slash formation like he slash she or his slash her and her slash him, because it bothers your writing skills and works. Number 5 technique, shift to second person pronouns. Use second person pronoun like you or yours than third person pronoun. So for example, in the sexist language, after selecting her insurance option in the benefit plan, each new nurse should submit her paperwork to the Human Resources Department. For the non-sexist language, submit your paperwork to the Human Resources Department after selecting your insurance option in the benefit plan. Considering shifting to the use of you and your words without any sexual bias. This technique is effective only with documents in which it is appropriate to use in an instructions-related command tone associated with this use of you. Number 6 technique is be especially careful of titles and letter salutation. Today, most women in business and industry are comfortable being addressed as Miss. If you know that the recipient prefers Miss or Mrs., use that in your salutation. If a person's gender is not obvious from the name, call the person's employer and ask how the person prefers to be addressed. When calling, also check on the correct spelling of the person's name and the person's current job title. So, for example, in the sexist language, Dear Miss Finnegan. On the non-sexist language, Dear Miss Finnegan. Miss MI dot is used when you are not sure of a woman's marital status. Or Miss does not depend on marital status and can be used for all women, may it be single or married. Another example in the sexist language is Dear Sir or Gentleman. And in using the non-sexist language, you can use attention, admissions committee. It is more appropriate to use the word attention to indicate directly to whom the letter is intended or in what organization to be specific instead of using Dear Sir or Gentleman. This is most commonly used when writing a letter to a company. When you do not know who will read your letter, never use Dear Sir or Gentleman as a generic greetings. Such a mistake may offend women reading the letter and may even cost you some business. Dear Sir or Madam is also inappropriate. It shows that you do not know your audience and it includes the archaic form Madam. Instead, call the organization for the name of a particular person to whom you can direct your letter. If you must write a group of people, replace the generic greetings with an attention line that denotes the name of the group. No doubt the coming years will bring additional suggestions for solving the problem of sexist language. Whatever the culture finally settles on, it is clear that good technical writing style no longer tolerates the use of such language.